Cookie Cat, it's a pet for your tummy. Cookie Cat, it's super duper yummy. Cookie Cat, it left his family behind. Cookie Cat, I don't know the rest of the lyrics.
Well, it ends with an explanation of how much you can buy it from. I don't remember it either.
But anyway, hello everyone, welcome to the Steven Universe Season 1 analysis video with SeetherCord and KhramChee. We're discussing the first season, and that's what we're doing. Let's get started. Anyway,
Yes!
hi. That was a really abrupt intro. But yes, we're here to discuss Season 1 of this SeetherCast. So, warning though, we're going to first discuss all the main premise of the show, and then we're going to discuss the characters, like all the characters we've seen so far. All like the original main characters, and then once we get into that, we're going to discuss the episodes and all that, and that's going to be the point where there's going to be spoilers. So if you haven't seen it by then, be sure to click away at that point. We'll give you a warning, and then we're also going to discuss the spoiler characters too. So be aware of that as well. So we'll let you know when there's going to be a spoiler coming up. So yeah, KhramChee, I think you can get started with if you want to explain the series. Or the show's main premise, if you want to, because you know the show better than I do.
Well, it's pretty simple. It's about a boy who is half human, half gem, and he has a quite strange family, which consists of his father and the crystal gems, who are 3 gem characters who are aliens. And basically, he is half gem. The show is about his journey finding out his powers and stuff related to his alien side.
Yes, and the show has been around for about, the first episode premiered in November of 2013, so it's been about nearly almost 4 years now the show's been airing. It doesn't feel like it, but it has been out for nearly 4 years at this point. And so far we are going to be discussing the first season, which ran from November. Well, technically, according to this website we're using, it splits this first season into 2 sections, which has a total of 52 episodes, even though the rest of them are going to be way shorter. I think, we're just going to count both these portions, which I guess technically when they made it are like 2 separate seasons, but we're just counting them as one whole season. But
yes.
Yeah. But yes, it ran from November 4th, 2013 here in the States, all the way to about March 12th, 2015. So about a 1.5 year run for this first season it took to produce 52 episodes, so yeah.
Yeah, the thing is
right.
that the team, the animation team, it goes into hiatus pretty often. It's a thing in Steven Universe.
Do you know any facts about the animation team, like who the animation team is? Like, is there a company name for them?
Actually, no. The only thing I know is that Rebecca Sugar is in charge of the whole story and develop of the show. Yeah.
I think it's produced at Cartoon Network Studios. I think that's where it's produced at, so as well.
Yes.
There are some Cartoon Network shows. Not all Cartoon Network shows are produced there. Like, I think Teen Titans Go wasn't originally made there, but Steven Universe definitely is, because you'll see that really scary and loud end production logo at the end of every episode we see. But
yes.
But yeah, pretty much. And I've got a question though. Is Rebecca Sugar, does she stay with production of the show up to this point? Because I know there's some shows like the creators like don't stay through the whole series, like they leave like a few seasons in.
Yeah, she's pretty active in it. She has also taken part into the production of some songs from the show too. She's still in it. She's still on the team.
All right, cool. So yes, and now that we got that out of the way, I think we can go into discussing all of the main characters, pretty much all the non-spoiler like character, like the ones we get so far at the beginning of the show, and then once we, as I said before, once we get into the spoiler territory, we'll discuss those characters as well. And so far, all we've known of it. And since KhramChee's seen way more episodes than I have, you gotta remember to please avoid spoiling anything or mentioning anything that's after season 1 that's mentioned. So
yeah, I'm gonna keep my quiet shut.
If you don't, I'll
Like
shoot you. But no, I'm kidding.
No.
But yes. First character, I guess I'll go into it. His name is the main character of Steven Universe is Steven Universe. He's a little kid with a Danny from Game Grumps afro.
Yeah.
He does. I don't know who voices him. I'm not sure. For the English dub, we're going up. I'll look that up quickly. Cannot. I'm so unprepared. Oh my god.
Voice actor
Zach Callison.
Callison.
Yes, he's voiced by Zach Callison. We got it at the same time. It's crazy. But yeah, he plays Steven. He's I believe he's like 12. I don't know. It's never stated because we don't know like what grade he's in school. We never seen him in school either. Like I don't know if he's in school or not.
Actually, if you remember well, we saw an episode where he has a birthday party or something like that.
Oh, how old was he though?
He turned 12, I think, and the episode was about him noticing that he has not grown any like related to his height.
Mm-hmm.
And he noticed that he's older than Connie, the girl he's friends with.
Yeah. But Steven is... Wow. We just said we would get to the point when we had to say the spoilers.
I'm sorry.
It's fine.
But yeah, he's 12. In season 1, I think he's 12.
Yes, and yeah, basically he's the main character. He is the daughter. No, that's... He's the son of Greg, his father, who is a human, and a character that by the name of Rose, who is a crystal gem, and he is being taken under the wing of 3 other crystal gems known as Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl. And Steven himself is a half gem, half human. And because of that mixing, we don't really know just yet as to what really comes in store for him of having that half human, half gem characteristics and traits. So we learn as the series goes on more about him and more about himself and more about what he thinks internally. So it's kind of like I like how shows like that really do cleverly put in like this kind of like very little going in, but they don't like just dump all the information you need to know in one spot. They spread it out very nicely. It's like spreading butter on a piece of toast. You don't want to put the whole stick in the center. You want to spread the butter out evenly all over it. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, I also like how they put the emotions on the characters when they find something out. It's not just the viewer who finds it out, it's also the characters, and it gives you that idea of you becoming part of this adventure too. Yes.
Now we got him out of the way, we're going to go into the 3 other main characters pretty much, which there is Amethyst, Pearl, and Garnet, the 3 crystal gems that take care of him. If I can explain, Amethyst is the kind of the wild girl kind of one, the short, really doesn't care about her own personal hygiene or what other people think of her, so she really does very, socially unacceptable things, which makes her stand out, and she's kind of an aggressive character. She kind of reminds me of Sam from iCarly, but but
yeah, but she's a rebel basically.
Yeah, she is a rebel, and yeah, I will say the main problem I do feel like I'm not saying she's not really that much developed as a character, but we'll get into that later. But I will say out of the 3 crystal gems, she's the one that's developed the least in season 1. Maybe they're going to make up for that in the later seasons, but I don't know. Because I remember, we really didn't get, an episode that really, revolved around her backstory until, 30 or 40 episodes in. So I noticed that. But that's Amethyst. Then we get ourselves Pearl, who is the intelligent, neurotic, really, tall, skinny kind of crystal gem who's really motherly to Steven. And she does a lot of, really protective things.
Yeah.
I will say it gives off kind of a weird vibe, like I watch you while you sleep, which is a really weird thing I thought. When you watch Steven sleep at night. It's really weird.
That thing.
That's really weird.
And then we have Garnet.
Yes.
She's like the leader of the 3 crystal gems. Whenever they go on missions on the first season, it is her who tells them where to go and what to do.
Yeah. And Garnet is really a character we're not going to really discuss that much about her yet, because when we start off the show, without spoiling, there's not that much we really know about her at first. You know, she's kind of like a really monotone, very like tall, confident yet mysterious character. And
Yeah.
she's voiced by Estelle. If you don't know who's in the English dub, I think you watch the Spanish dub more. But yeah, Estelle. She's
Yeah.
she's a musician herself, but she doesn't do that much music anymore because she's pretty much being a slave to Cartoon Network. But she is responsible for doing a lot of the songs in Steven Universe, which we'll get into later as well. And she did the theme song for We Bare Bears, which I love as well. So that's pretty cool. And,
Yes.
yeah, and other further things with her music career outside of Cartoon Network, not that much really stands out. I think she did like one song with Kanye West, from all I know, but that's it. But besides that, that's her. And we forgot to mention the voice actors for the other characters. For Pearl, is voiced by Dee Magno. Thinks of Dee from Dexter's Laboratory, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And Michelle Dietz, I hope I pronounced that right, is voice of Amethyst. She does a pretty good job as well. Her voice sounds really familiar. I feel like there's been other shows I've watched that she's voiced the characters for, but I have never noticed until just now. She does ring a bell with her voice. Her voice sounds very familiar.
Yeah, it does. It does give me that. I don't know if it's the same voice actor, but it sounds similar to Rainbow Dash from My Little Pony. I don't know if it's the same voice actor though.
Yeah, Rainbow Dash. She does give off kind of that punk. Both those characters kind of give off like kind of a punk kind of vibe to them. And for all the people listening to here, if you make any brony comments, I'm going to block you. No, I'm kidding. But, I'm kidding. But do not expect a My Little Pony season recap. We're just doing Steven Universe. If you expect bronies, like, no. But
I'm sorry about brony too.
It's fine. I'm an ex-brony, and I'm like freaking Alex. Like I have to act like I'm not like being like used to be on drugs for being a brony. Sorry, but other main characters. I guess Connie's considered like one of the more major characters in the show. She's voiced by Grace Rolek.
Yeah. Well, let's explain Connie a little.
Yeah. I'll let you take over for her.
Well, she is a character Steven meets in the beginning of the series, but she doesn't get developed right afterwards. They become friends, and Steven tells her about his magic powers and stuff, and then, well, she becomes interested into that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she does show kind of, like, in my opinion, from what I've seen, she doesn't show to really have that much of physical help for Steven and the rest of the cast, but she does show a lot of emotional and, like, technical help, in my opinion. But I feel like maybe later in the future, from what I've seen, she will have more of the physical help that we'll get into later, which is spoilers.
Yes.
Yeah. But another main character we'll go into is Greg Universe, who's both voiced by Tom Sharpling, Schharpling, he is he's Steven's dad who owns the car wash. I believe it's a car wash, yeah. And he's Steven's dad that was married. I believe they were married to his mom, that Rose, that will that pretty much like he knows a little bit more, but he hasn't really discussed too early into the series more about Rose. And I think like he and the other crystal gems are really important to Steven in terms of learning more about Rose. Yeah, he's like probably the only character besides the other crystal gems that has like connections to Rose that has information.
Yeah, so far in the
his
first
dad's really
season,
goofy.
Yes, that too. So far in the first season, he is the one who has given more information about the mother to Steven. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and with Greg, I will say Greg is probably one of my favorite characters out of all of them, because he kind of gives off like that underdog vibe, because most of the crystal gems don't take him that seriously as a human and think he's kind of worthless, but he actually does have a lot of character to him, and he's really he does provide a lot of help and insight on things that you wouldn't expect the other characters to really do.
Yeah, and I also like that they don't they didn't give him that I don't care kind of reaction towards the powers Steven develops. He gets worried about Steven during the battles they go into, and he's a really caring father in the end.
Yeah, he is. And that's wrapping up all the main characters. And we forgot Rose, who's kind of a main character, but she has kind of the spoiler territory, so we'll discuss her when we get to the spoiler part. But now, we got that out of the way, so I think we covered all the characters and the plot pretty much. So, I think we can now go into the spoiler territory, if that's cool with you.
Yes.
All right.
Let's
So we're going to discuss the episodes. So before, if you haven't watched Steven Universe and you're interested now because of what we talked about, stop this video, go watch a couple episodes. No, watch all of season 1, and then come back to this video. Oh, excuse me.
Nice one.
Thank you. And then come back, and then we will. Then you can watch the rest of this video because we're going into some heavy spoiler territory for season 1. So, quick away now. You got 3 seconds. Steven dies. No, I'm kidding.
What?
I'm sorry. I'm kidding.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
All right. So we can get into the episodes. I don't think we're going to discuss every single episode, but I think we can discuss the whole point of what the whole series kind of breaks down at first. Some episodes we'll talk about in detail. First we can go into the whole point of the season. There's 52 episodes. They're split into two halves, 26 each, and it's weird. The show doesn't really feel like it has that continuation sense which it's known for, which most cartoons these days are known for, until the second half, because I don't think the creators of the show were really going to know that it was going to be as successful after the first half of the season. Yeah. It does feel like the show is 2 separate seasons. It does. But it's technically 1 season. What's weird, it's separated into 1A and 1B. And definitely the second half of the season does have a lot more of the continuation flow than the first one does.
It does.
And I think even a lot of people, the fans of the show, that are fans of Steven Universe, admit that they weren't really fans of the show until the second half of the first season.
Yeah, because the first season, the first half of the season gives that vibe as if they were trying out different styles until they found out which one to follow, and then they stuck with it up to now.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. And I will say, I do I'm not saying that the first half of the season is bad personally, but I will say it doesn't have, in my opinion, that good of a flow as the second half does, or it's not grasping of my attention, but it's not bad. It's still, I'll watch it, and if I have to rewatch the series, I'm not going to skip to the second half because I'll watch the first half, because it does still have interest. It does still keep its focus in a way, because you do slightly learn more and more with those first 26 episodes that are kind of scattered with their own focus.
Yeah.
But if we could get into that, so as we start off, the show starts off with the first couple episodes with these weird, starting off with Steven with the whole cookie cat fiasco, to the cheeseburger backpack, to the whole world nearly getting destroyed by a sun that's going to crash into them. And
yes.
And oh my god, the cat fingers episode. I cannot watch that. If I ever have to watch the show again, I'm going to skip that episode, because that episode just, it makes me feel really uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah, it is really creepy. Just freaking your fingers. He's trying to, if you don't know, Steven's trying to shapeshift. He's learning to shapeshift from Amethyst, and he's able to turn his finger into a cat, mini cat. But then it turns the rest of his fingers into cats too, until eventually his whole body just starts turning into this monster mash of cats, and it's disturbing.
Yeah, it's not like cat body, it's just cat heads all over his body.
It's still creepy.
Yeah.
I gotta go plug in my computer. I'll be right back.
All right. Let's put a little elevator sound here while we're waiting for Seether to come back. I like cookies. This is
I heard you say something. What did you say?
Nothing.
What did you say? No, you said something. You said something. But yeah, with that
Okay.
episode, it is really disturbing, and that did stuck out in my mind as probably one of my least favorites. Not saying it was a bad episode, it's one of my least favorites because it's just uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah,
If I
but the
Mhm.
episode that comes right after it is like one of the first episodes that gets into the story
Mhm.
because it is the episode where Steven meets with Connie, the girl who then becomes one of his best friends.
Yes, and Connie. I will say about Connie, I like her for the most part, but I will say, in my opinion, I do feel like they kind of develop her a little slow compared to the rest of the characters. Even, in my opinion, even more so than Amethyst. If you think about it. Well, to be fair, like she doesn't live with Steven, so we don't see her as much, and she's probably in like only 20 of the 50 episodes we've seen so far.
Yeah,
Because
that's you.
But I do feel like even when they do show her, I don't feel like they've really like given that much of her character yet. Maybe they'll get that more into the second season with her. I hope so. And I will say, with other episodes to go into, an episode that did stick out to me. I think we can first go and talk about the first half of the first season. Is the first sense where I kind of got a mystery into like Garnet's character, with learning more about him, that's about her or whatever. Is the episode Arcade Mania, where Garnet becomes addicted to this one video game at the arcade. And,
yeah, it was so funny.
Yeah. And we don't really see, like we start to see once it shows the third eye, or I believe it's a third eye, but we see it is a third eye, but we only saw one, so we don't know exactly we didn't know at that point if it was 3 eyes, or if it's 2 or it's 5. It was 1 so far, but it was then later revealed to be 3. But it does show that was the first point I really saw like the sense of continuation, because we slowly started to learn more. Like, hey, we remember this from this episode was the first thing I remembered from later episodes. And when it comes to later episodes, you have any other episodes that stick out for you for the first half?
Well, we have one of our favorites for both of us, which is Giant Woman.
Oh, yes, the song.
Yes. We love the song, and we love the episode itself. Seether loves the goat.
The goat. Steven Jr.
Yes, Steven Jr.
He was revealed to be a father, by the way.
Yes. And, well, I think that's the first episode where we see a fusion happening.
Yes. And it's sad, though, that like we really don't get any like real mention. We've seen her like it was the fusion between Amethyst and Pearl. And if you don't know about fusions are basically when 2 crystal gems, fuse together to really form like this powerful being that can attack and fight. But we've seen her twice, but 2 other times, but there's really no ever mention about the origin about it. We see more with the other fusion between Amethyst and Garnet. I don't remember the names of them though.
No, me neither.
But the fusion between Amethyst and Garnet, I feel like has a lot more character to it, because that one actually speaks, unlike the Pearl and Amethyst fusion, and oh my god, the freaking there was that episode where we saw Garnet and Amethyst fuse really did hint to me realizing this is not completely a kid's show. Even though it's on Cartoon Network, it's not a kid's show. I always knew Cartoon Network, like even back in the day, like 10 years ago when I was at the point where I really stopped watching Cartoon Network for a while, they weren't as, as family oriented as Disney Channel or Nickelodeon was, but they did push the limits a little bit more. And still, this show really does kind of push that at times.
Yeah.
The show's rated TVPG, by the way.
Yeah. Have you heard of that little controversy that they had about the characters showing lesbian relationships? That in the end, one of the creators got into an interview and got asked about it, and they had to say that the characters have no gender.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know about that. Was this like a season 1 thing they were complaining about, or was it like a future thing? Because I know that like when it comes to relationships and the whole, like diversity and like, it's like, caricatures of how people are comes into later seasons more than like when it pushes the moral, like in social issues, it goes into later seasons, which we haven't got into yet, but yeah.
Yes, you're right. I think it happened in the beginning of the second season, where, well, we're not gonna talk about it yet, but yes, it got into big controversy.
And by the way, I looked at the fusion of Garnet and Amethyst is named Sugalite. Yeah, weird. Yes. Sugalite. But yes, and to get back to the the Giant Woman episode, we love that because of the music. And I will say, this show has amazing music so far from what I've gotten. There's been like, I think 3 or 4 musical numbers we've seen so far of the show. 4 or 5. There's the Steven and the Steven song, which was between the 4 main at the very end, and then there was Giant Woman. The 3 that stick out to me most are Stronger Than You, Giant Woman, and Strong in the Real Way, which Strong in the Real Way came from the episode of the Sugalite fusion. And that episode, the song really does stick out, and I think it's those 3 songs we mentioned are probably one of the most notable songs of the show, because if you go on YouTube, I think Stronger Than You has like 15 million views on YouTube, and the other ones have like 6 or 5 million each, which is really crazy. And I think like when it comes to shows like cartoons, or not even just Cartoon Network, but just shows in general, like I think like this show is probably like one of the best examples of like musical score. And I think it even has its own soundtrack that you can buy too. I've never really heard of that many kids shows that have, soundtracks that you can really buy in the professional sense. And they even have Estelle, who sings some of the songs, which she is a professional music artist who's done music with other big names in the music industry.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't know you could buy the soundtrack. I'm interested now.
Legally download them. No, don't do that.
No.
But yeah, but yeah, they do a really good job with those songs. And another character I feel like we could go into is the spoiler characters we can go into. The first one being Steven's lion. I don't think he's really necessarily a spoiler character.
For the first season, it is not a big deal, but yeah, there is an episode where Steven finds out he can go into Lion's Mane. And that's like a big hint for future stuff. He finds out that there are important stuff from his mother inside the Lion's Mane. There's something like an island, and he found many things that his mother hid there.
And I will say, when it comes to I will say I do like that as well. And the thing that sticks out to me most that I like about Lion is that they have his own specific episode. Like 3 of the episodes are literally just called Lion 1, Lion 2, Lion 3. I like that. Yes. I like how it has kind of its own trilogy of videos. Like, I feel like even if you want to just rewatch this, I feel like if you want to just rewatch a few episodes, or to just like rewatch the backstory of that character of Lion, you can literally easily just find that and just watch those 3 episodes again. Because like literally, like you can go into those 3 episodes, watch them back and forth, and there won't be like anything else you'll be missing in between those episodes.
Yeah, basically.
I like that a lot. But with Lion, I do like how he sticks out, and he did give me a connect. I did feel like Lion did have a level of importance. Like I knew like once Lion 2 was over, I'm like, this character does have something to do with Rose. Like yeah, Rose is something involved with him. Like they're both extremely pink, and other like signs are also shown, and his mysterious sense like Rose has. And like even with Rose, she's probably the most mysterious of them all, even more so than Garnet. Well, maybe more so than Garnet, because we learn a lot more about Garnet faster than we do for Rose. Heck, we don't even I don't think we even fully see what Rose looks like in the show until like halfway through the first season, or like at least 10 or 20 episodes in, because there's a painting hung up in the house, but I don't think they fully show the painting until like 10 or 20 episodes in.
Yeah, they actually show the painting, but there's always something hiding the face.
Or if it's like too far in the distance, like that's what I meant. yeah, we can't really get a full. I like how they pay a lot of attention to detail with that. I like that a lot with animation.
Yeah, me too. I love the things that they pay attention, especially with Steven Universe. They pay attention to the background scenes. For example, there are some episodes where they take pictures, or Steven buys something or gets something as a gift, and then when you look at the room, at Steven rooms, he has the photos or he has the item there. It's not like they use the same exact background from the first episode. They keep updating it and they pay attention to those details.
And I like that too. Another thing I do like when it comes to that is, paying attention to detail. I like its other references it has. Like there is a lot of reference to like retro gaming and just video game in general, but specifically with retro gaming, because there's like a lot of, they reference a couple Final Fantasy characters with like some figurines he's owned, which that's pretty cool. And they there's also even a Nintendo GameCube sitting next to his TV, which they don't have the GameCube logo because like copyright, but like it's structured just like a purple Nintendo GameCube is, which is pretty cool. And the Nintendo GameCube was my favorite system growing up. I have one that's literally like 5 inches away from me.
Yes.
But I love that a lot. And he also has an N64 somewhere too, but I don't think we see that. I think it was only for that one episode. I always know that the GameCube was there over the Nintendo 64. But other than that, I do like that. And pretty much, is there anything else you would like to mention about any other interesting things you see hidden in terms of like references or just things out in the distance?
Well, as far as I remember, apart from the things that I mentioned, for example, the photo I said, there is one episode where Steven takes a photo of himself with Connie, and then you see it in the background in future episodes.
Aw, that's nice.
Yeah, if you pay attention, and you would like to rewatch it, you can see that happen. And also, for example, when in one of the very first episodes where Steven has to recover his mother's cannon to rescue the world, basically. There's a huge difference between the van of his father before and after it, because
got damaged.
Yeah, it got damaged, and Pearl decided to work with it, and
as an apology, kind of.
Yes. And you can see that they paid attention to that, and the van, they didn't use the old model, even though they could have, but they decided to stick with the new one. And
it's like you don't even really remember the older model because his van got pretty much destroyed in the second episode, so we don't really remember the first one that well.
Yeah, but for example, there's one episode almost near the end of the second half of the first season where you see how Greg met Steven's mother, and there you see that he has a totally different van too. Like it's the van we see in the first episode, but it's not the same van as after it got repaired. So they did pay a huge amount of attention to some details.
Yeah. And to mention with that, another episode I kind of wanted to mention that was kind of really important for the development. It's also sticks out as an episode because of just how different it feels from the other episodes. Not saying it's bad, like the other episodes are like the same, because they're not. It's just the other one is just so much farther out there. And that was the episode when Steven and Connie fused together. That episode, it started off really your typical episode of Steven Universe you would see, but the last half of it when they're exploring the world while fused together is just so weird. I don't know, because we watched that late at night. I don't know if I was just dreaming or not when I was watching that. But yeah, it stuck out in my mind because it felt like I was on drugs while watching, especially when they went into the club. Because the music that you would usually hear in the background and is also with the main soundtrack was a lot different than you would expect. And it's just weird. But and I found
that episode really beautiful. It was so greatly built. The order they chose to put the things to happen. It was so well done.
Yeah, I like it too. It is definitely one of my most favorite episodes, just not because of just, its beauty aspect, but because of also like how much it stands out from the other episodes, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another episode I would like to talk about is what are like some of the more weaker episodes you would say would be of the first season? Like I don't know if there's necessarily any episodes you would say is bad. Like none of them necessarily push me bad. But,
I would say that the very first episode, I wouldn't say it's not important because we get back to the monsters again later on in the first season, but you can watch the show and ignore the first episode and the story will still continue as if nothing happened.
Are you mentioning the pilot or the first episode, like with Cookie?
First.
Yeah, I think we should bring up the pilot for a second. I saw the pilot on my own without you, and I will say I do like the art style. Even though I prefer the current one they use, I would say that the original one isn't bad. It does give a lot more of like an Adventure Time vibe with the way it's drawn. But and I do think that like I agree with you when you say like it would be a lot more expensive to produce, so I can understand them going a different route with the current art style they use.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about that before, and even though I had to agree the way they were drawn and the way it was animated was so cool and stuff, but getting to animate many episodes per season would have costed twice or 3 times more than the designs they decided to go with.
And it does like kind of homage to how like Steven Universe does give off kind of an anime vibe, even like with the original, but a lot more. The pilot gives off a lot more of an anime vibe. Like honestly, if I would have looked at that and not known it was a pilot auction for Cartoon Network, I honestly would have thought it was an anime. Like if it wasn't for, I really would have thought that would just been like an anime. But it is a lot more human-like, realistic. So I can understand them going with the the more cartoonish style, which makes it a lot cheaper to make. So yeah. But still, I would have loved if they had more money. I would have been completely going through with them. Like even if they would have if they had more money and they would have been able to go with another art style, I'd still watch it. But I do hear like shows that tend to change their art style like halfway through the show or like in the middle of a show tend to get a lot of criticism for that. Like SpongeBob, like after the first 3 seasons, like it went downhill once they updated their animation. American Dragon Jake Long, I remember everyone hated it once they changed their animation.
Yeah.
Any other shows? I don't think of any other shows that really did that as well. Like halfway changed their animation through the wall in the middle of the show.
I don't know if it happened in the US, but Billy and Mandy here in Spanish, they changed the voice actors. And people hated the new voice they gave to Billy. And it got a lot of criticism. Does it happen too with the English dub?
Well, I haven't watched Billy and Mandy in like years. Like it was a great show, but it's one of those shows like it's so dark that like it doesn't make you feel comfortable at times watching it. But from what I remember from so long ago watching it, there really wasn't ever real like change of voice acting. Like I think I remember like Grimm was actually voiced by a guy from Jamaica and he stuck by the whole way. Mandy was the same. Billy I don't think changed either. Irwin was the same too. All of them, I don't think there was ever really a change in the voice actor. I think there was just something with the production company for the Spanish version. There was probably a problem or so.
Yeah.
But back to Steven Universe.
Yes. One of the ending episodes for the first half, which I think it's important, is when Steven finds the mirror. That then turns out to be Gem
Lapis.
trapped in there. Yes.
Lapis. She's
Lapis
a spoiler character, by
Lazuli.
the way. Yeah, if you don't know, she's a reference to Lapis Lazuli. I first learned that from Minecraft, but
Yes. Well, Lapis Lazuli. When we talk about the gem that we find in real life, it is you can only find it near water sources. So I think that's the inspiration to her powers in the show, which are water-based.
I think they do that with all of the gems. Like they make it more like, like consistent with like how gems in actual life work with them, and how amethyst, is more connected to the earth, which we learned in a later episode, which was actually the first episode where we got kind of like a backstory of amethyst. Pearl,
and Garnet. Well, even though,
you can go into the spoiler for Garnet if you want. Garnet is a fusion of two other characters that we saw in the finale of Ruby and Sapphire, and shut up. But yeah.
Well, about Garnet, she has really specific details about her powers, which she gets these gauntlets that are really hard, and when you read the information about Garnet the gem in real life, Garnet is a really strong gem actually. So the creator paid attention to that too. Like every single gem and the powers they have is also related. It's all related to the gem in real life.
Yeah, I like that a lot too. Especially, I like how much attention Rebecca Sugar put into detail with this. I don't know how long, but I'm willing to bet she's put in at least a few years of producing the show's world before she even got it into an idea of making an actual series for Cartoon Network. And you do get that a lot with these shows. Like also Adventure Time was a show that did pay a lot of attention to its universe, and Rebecca Sugar did work for Adventure Time before Steven Universe.
Yeah.
I do see that she kind of had that. She kind of has that event that does show how Steven Universe has that Adventure Time charm to it in terms of in terms of its ability to have these really built and in-depth worlds. Even though Adventure Time's kind of failing right now, but it's about to be canceled. But
yes.
Even though I've never really watched Adventure Time, but I don't know. Adventure Time, it looks cool, but it never really stuck out to me. But I can respect what it's done for Cartoon Network, because it saved Cartoon Network back like 8 years ago. No, was it 8 years ago? I think it was like 7. Like I don't know, but
it did save it.
Yeah, in Adventure Time, in regular show, in my opinion was way more enjoyable for me. Not saying it was better, it's just it stuck out to me. But in terms of like that with the gems and Pearl being her shiny self, shiny self, she did stick out in that way. But we were mentioning like the weakest episodes are the ones that kind of like brought the show down. I would like to discuss. We've talked so much good about this first season. Is there anything involving season 1 or the show so far we've seen in general of what we've seen so far without anything past season 1? Is there any like things that you would feel are negative about the show that you would say any of the show's flaws? Because every show has flaws.
Ronaldo.
Or what is his name? Ronaldo. It's Ronaldo. Yes, Ronaldo is this insane character. Freaking. He's like pretty much an accurate depiction of everybody who uses Tumblr. But he has.
I wouldn't say everybody, but so the vast majority of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's him and the MRAs and the feminists, but anyway.
Yes.
But he's an insane character that has a blog on, which I think it's really obvious on Tumblr, but the show doesn't depict it as Tumblr because copyright. The only thing I don't like about this character, because he's one of those characters that he's like more of a minor or a side character, but the thing I don't like about him is that he's depicted in such a negative light, and yet there is some form of character development we've seen with him so far, but however, it's very rare, and also like the show tends to more so pick on him, and episodes that involve him have more of a bad moral ending for him than you would see of anyone else. Because every other character we've seen so far, when it comes up a problem with them, there always is a solution for them, and they learn a lesson and they better themselves. Ronaldo doesn't have that. Barely he has that. There is one episode where he did have that, but for the most part, every other episode, he's just the same old annoying, insane self that has this boring blog. Which, if you didn't know, kudos to the creators for actually making an actual blog on Tumblr dedicated to his that's like a reenactment of his blog in the show, which is really cool. It's called Keep Beach City Weird. I think that's the right name. I'm not sure exactly. But yeah, he I do like how they did that with the show. But when it comes to Ronaldo, I don't like him. It's weird though, because like every other character in the show has some form of redeeming factor to them, and there's so much more. None of the characters I hate except Ronaldo. It's weird. But every other character I will say is very much likable, and I will say he's my only real gripe I have with the show, other than like
Lars.
Besides the only other thing, Lars. Who's Lars?
Lars is the guy
Lars
who
is the
works
jerk,
at
the
donut
donut
shop.
shop guy.
Yes.
I don't know. I actually feel for Lars. Lars actually, I do feel, has a lot more development than Ronaldo does. And even though there's times where he's an absolute jerk, you do see kind of his character, and you kind of, pity him / understand him in a way, because he actually does show to have kind of a heart when it comes to like Sadie and even Steven. At times he actually has respect for Steven.
So far, as of the first season, I think he's been a jerk all the time. He does show signs of learning from his errors, as you said, but still, I don't like season 1's Lars.
Yeah, maybe I will say season 1 is at least a good opening doorway for him. Maybe he'll be better in season 2. I hear he's better, but we gotta wait to watch that. Ronaldo, I don't think is ever gonna learn. I think Ronaldo in season 1 is gonna be the same Ronaldo in the finale. But
yeah.
I hope they don't bling on the show forever. I would cry if they made the show like as long as SpongeBob or The Simpsons, personally. But because that's the curse. You can't have a good show good forever. But anyway, and the character, another spoiler character. But no, I forgot to mention crap. The other thing I don't like about the show is there were certain episodes, like probably less than I could count on my hand, episodes that I did feel were kind of pointless and unnecessary. The one episode I will say is the episode where Steven's depiction of what Garnet did the whole day, and it turned out to be completely wrong and pointless. And the episode, you even told me to skip the episode because of how pointless it was.
Yes, I remember.
And I don't know, it's not like a bad episode.
It was cute and all, but it doesn't add anything to the story.
Anything. Like, it could be like a spin-off series or a short.
Yeah.
Like, I love the Steven Universe shorts. I love the shorts that come with them. I love a lot of them. I do. But I feel like that would have fitted more as a 2-minute short, not an 11-minute episode. Like, it was pointless. And that was the only thing I didn't like about that episode either. That was the only other real thing I felt brought me down with the show. But other than that, nothing really else majorly sticks out bad. Maybe there's some like more minor details that stick out bad, but for the most part, it's good. And maybe the other major thing I don't like is another thing is like how the first half of the season doesn't have that much focus, but you can't really blame them because they didn't know the show was going to be as big as it was back then when it first came out. So I can't really blame them for that. So it's just those few things. That's pretty much all I have bad to say. Is there anything else you would say that sticks out bad for the show, or any negative aspects besides what I mentioned?
Well, I wouldn't say something about the episodes, but about the production. I have been following Steven Universe for longer than you have, and
of course,
I've started watching it when they were halfway on the second season.
Mm-hmm.
And the waiting time for every 4 or 5 episodes they publish is so long. They go on hiatus every 2 or 3 months, and it can get annoying from time to time. And I think that would be one of the negative aspects about Steven Universe. The fact that the production goes on hiatus so often.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's necessarily something I could blame on the show, because when the shows end over, like if we did like a full-on series review of the show, I don't think we could really count that, because like if we watch the show like 10 years from now and we review it again, it's not really something we can really criticize because we have the show already done. But it's weird, like how many we're on the show's at season 5 right now, and there's like I think 5 or 6 episodes now of season 5. I think they just had a new episode yesterday, but we got to catch up to that. Which we'll be catched up in time. I don't know. There's some people speculating that the show's going to end after season 6, but I don't know. I think 6 seasons would be perfect for a show like that. I think it would.
Yeah, me too.
But
About this story though, getting back to the episodes, we stopped at the part where he meets with Lapis Lazuli, and then after that, I think that's the episode where the story starts becoming a lot deeper.
Yes.
And after that, after the fact that Lapis Lazuli goes into space, we get to meet this new enemy, quote unquote enemy.
Peridot.
Peridot.
Spoilers. Freaking okay, but anyway, yeah, Peridot.
We're talking about the first season.
Okay. Peridot. I've heard from other fans of the show that they love / hate her, but like they love her in a comedic sense, but on like a personal sense, they think like, "Wow, you're a dumbass." But
well, yeah. Peridot is kind of an asshole on the first season. I also had that thought about her, like hate, love her.
And I think like anybody who goes into Steven Universe, I think like she's going to be the only character that it's like virtually impossible to get spoiled about, because I think she's like a fan favorite. Because if you go on Instagram or like Tumblr, she's all over the place. Even if you don't search for Steven Universe, you run into her. I think she's like probably like the most fan favorite character.
That, and also people love to make memes about her.
Oh my god, the Peridot memes. I don't know. Yes. I always see Pearl as more as a meme. I don't know. It's maybe because like she gives off that Squidward from SpongeBob vibe, and the faces she makes, like, and the face with her lips. I also point out freaking Amethyst. I cannot get over Amethyst's lips. Her lips stick out and it annoys me. Like, she has like fish lips, or she's doing like the duck face or something. I don't know, and I hope it's not the duck face. But
yeah, she's doing duck face all the time.
Oh my god, she's sassy. But anyway, But
one episode that I found out was kind of deep, and it got me really curious about the gem stuff. Is the episode where Amethyst takes Steven to the place where she was born at.
Yeah, I like that episode too, because it does show a lot of the deep aspect of, you know, Rose and Amethyst who fight at the end, like they're really gonna hurt each other. But the more like, you know, deep aspect also, that was the deep emotional aspect, but also the deep emotional also for like Amethyst with her character, and she feels terrible deep down, which I feel like a lot of people can relate to. But deep down also, you know, like for story, because we see like this whole new place, and like what are these people, or like what is this thing that's been hidden, which is not hidden for the character of the show, but for the viewer we have no idea what this is yet. And we'll learn a little bit more of that later. I think they're gonna go back to that place sometime in season 2 or 3. But that episode ended really weird. Like, it didn't have the usual star or anything, like not even like a dramatic star like the camera thing where it ends off like the goodbye bubble. It was more so like this weird ominous music, and it showed a few more of the, you know, the incubators. But that was it. It just ended abruptly like that. I don't know if that was like an error or something like that. I don't know, or a viewing error. But
I don't think so. I think they put that to give that creepy or mysterious vibe to
the episode.
Yes.
And I do like that too. And to fast forward a little bit more, because we've been recording for like 54 minutes now, my god. Lapis comes back when they find this, like, you know, Howling Stone. That's a freaking item from Legend of Zelda. What am I talking about? Not a Howling Stone. That's from Twilight Princess. I like that game. No, it's like it's a pillar. It's a pillar that's that makes music or noise, and it's like ear-bleedingly loud.
Well, thing is that item appears again. It's an item they get in the prior mission from one of the first 5 or 6 episodes, and then one day it just starts screeching really loud, and they need help decoding the message. And it turns out that what they had to do was connect it to a TV, and the one who finds out how to do that is Steven's father.
He's Greg.
Yes.
Greg. I need to mention my personal favorite episode, in my opinion, was the episode that came, I think, right before that, actually, because I remembered I made a mistake when watching it. we watched the finale of season 1, but then we realized we skipped 3 episodes, and then we watched them and we were like,
Yes.
oh wait, are these season 2 episodes or season 1 episodes? They were season 1 episodes. Yeah, we skipped 3 episodes in between.
One of them was season 2, but the other 2 were season 1.
Yeah. Season 1. But I do like, personally, my favorite season 1 episode was Greg telling Steven the story of how he met his mom and how they came to be. And I thought it was really sweet and cute. And also kind of a lot more hinting towards Rose. I think... No. We didn't see Rose for the first time. We saw Rose for the first time when Steven got the videotape. But it's the first time we kind of saw more into her character other than like a 10-second clip of her talking. But she is really... I do like their chemistry. She is gorgeous.
Oh, the stone, it's called the Wailing Stone.
Wailing Stone. Close to the Howling Stone. I was half right. But
but yeah, and after decoding the message, it was actually sent by Lapis Lazuli from space. And it turns out that our green friend, Peridot, is sent to Earth to check what's going on, and she comes with a friend, actually.
Yes, and
that's
to get
Jasper,
back in my
if I'm not wrong.
Jasper, yes, Jasper, which we'll go into in just a sec. And if you go back to the episode what I was speaking about, Steven and Rose, I do like, personally, I think that Steven and Rose is my favorite ship. You say your favorite's Ruby and Sapphire. Maybe they'll become my favorite, but I don't know. You like Ruby and Sapphire more. Maybe it's just because I don't like them as much because they came in at the last second. So maybe season 2 there'll be a lot more development of them. I'm pretty sure there is, but we gotta wait and see. I don't know if it's a season 2 or season 3, but there will be more. Oh my god. But
I'm sorry.
It's okay. But continuing with season 1. Yes, Rose is gorgeous. We agree on that. Everyone loves big girls, but
oh yeah, remember that thing we read about the girl who...
I knew about that before I even watched Steven Universe like 2 years ago. I remember when that whole shit went down. But yeah, people are crazy. The fan base of Steven Universe is absolutely terrible. From what we hear, it's probably one of the worst fandoms. I thought bronies were like, I'm sorry if I have to generalize, but just in terms of like outspoken people in a community, I always thought bronies were, but those people, a lot worse. Steven Universe fans. I don't know if they call themselves like Stevenites or something. I don't know.
I don't know. I actually don't know what's the name Steven fans have, but I wouldn't consider myself part of that fandom, even though I follow it deeply. I have to watch the new episode though, but yes.
Of course. I watched a recent MLP episode with you and I loved it. Freaking, and I left the show like a few years ago. It was sweet. But yes, the fact that people have to get so pissed off because you drew a character skinny instead of fat. Okay, stop with your forcing SJW stuff on us, okay? But
I took a picture with a girl who was who had a cosplay of Rose. Yes, and she was skinny, and I loved it anyway.
She get flack? I hope not.
I hope not.
Yeah, but yeah, she's that's really cool too. And to get back to the season, after we got the message from Lapis, there was like 2 more episodes. There was like, I think 2 more episodes leading up to it where like the power went off in the city and they got it back on out of nowhere. And we had 2 episodes. Then we had the finale 2 episodes. And it was probably like a really good finale in my opinion. I loved it a lot. Connie was absent for the most part, but I think she'll be more epic and more useful in terms of fighting later on. But but season 1 does stand out, and it was a really good wrap up. And I did like seeing, enjoy seeing Sapphire and Ruby fuse. And Chipflick, if you're watching this, I'm not mad at you for spoiling it on accident that Garnet was a fusion.
Yeah.
I want to punch you in the face, but no.
I am mad at you because I was giving myself for a second.
Shut up. But
it's alright, Chipflick. I'm not being serious.
But, yes. It's like the 6th time I mentioned them in the video. My God. But yeah, they're cool. But I will say it does stick out a lot. The fighting did seem really cool. What is
The
his name?
songs,
Song Stronger
two
Than You.
songs.
It is probably their most
Yeah.
successful song. I believe
I
that.
think
Like
so.
based on like YouTube views, it is the most viewed video for Steven Universe on YouTube. But who is the name of the main villain again? The villain for the season 1 finale? I forgot.
Jasper?
Jasper. Jasper, I don't know. I don't know if he'll be back or not. He's if you didn't know at the end, they won the fight, but he came back and he agreed we're gonna fuse with Lapis, and she's like, she backstabbed us, and at the very end she's like, oh no, she took one for the team, and then she forced herself and Jasper into the ocean forever, and they're at the bottom of the ocean somewhere. But I don't know if Jasper will be back or not. I hear Laps will be back, but probably Jasper too. But still, Jasper didn't really stand out to me that much as a villain. Maybe he will be later on. It's just that he gives like the office like, oh, I'm a big bad guy character, but for the most part, he didn't really show that much yet. I understand it's the finale, so I'm pretty sure he's gonna come back and we'll learn more, but still, he didn't really stand out that much to me. Besides him, the finale was great. Just kind of a weak villain for now, but holy shit, stop messaging me on Skype.
Well, yeah, I think that Jasper is the first enemy.
Yes.
But then after Jasper, there's
gonna be another one.
If they get you reported to
Spoilers.
Man, I'm saying it like in a way of hypothesis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but if Jasper gets to contact with Homeworld,
yes, a lot more shit will go down. But,
yeah.
We're gonna tear some shit up anyway.
Yeah, I felt really bad when I saw it happen. When the fusion happened and Lapis forced to go into the sea. I got really worried when I saw that. Like,
yeah,
because I love Lapis. Lapis is one of my favorite second characters. Like,
did you grow to like her? Did you grow to like her in season 1 or later on? Because for me, I didn't. I see a little bit of her character, but for the most part, she doesn't seem that developed yet. Like, I don't know that much about her yet, though. But I feel like I'll learn more later on.
Well, from my point of view, I think that I could relate to Lapis from the very first episode I saw her in. I don't know. I cannot say the reasons why. I don't find a reason why. I just relate to her in many ways.
Yes.
And I think that's the main reason why I think she's one of my favorite characters.
And everyone has their own favorite character because you know how they relate to them and all.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like all the characters minus Ronaldo so very much, and I like all of them so much
and
that I really
Fribo
can't.
too.
Who?
Fribo. The
Fribo.
French fries
he's-
costume.
I don't hate him, but he's kind of pointless. Like, he had one episode, but then he's like first. Like, I would love to see more of Fribo rather than Ronaldo personally. Maybe there'll be more of him in the future, but but I personally, I like all the characters, virtually all the characters, so much to the point where I really don't want to pick a favorite. But there are a lot of characters that I can, identify and relate with a lot. But certain ones more than others, but for the most part, I love all the characters because all the characters are so likable. I like how they're able to pull that off. Even with characters that act like jerks, you still like them and care for them.
I love Sadie too. Sadie is one of my favorite characters when it comes to just humans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they kind of ignored her and Lars for like near the end of the first season. I guess because like they don't really show that much importance now. Maybe they'll have more later, but for the end of the first season, they kind of pushed the human characters away for the most part, minus Greg, because Greg is really important. But all the human characters kind of, became less important near the first season because it's more casual every day in the first part of the season.
Yeah.
And then the second part, or near the end, the last couple episodes, they kind of pushed them to decide to focus on a lot more of the gem stuff. But yeah, that's all season 1 pretty much. Anything else that really you need to mention about season 1? Pretty much.
Well, so far I think we have talked about everything. Everything that's important.
Is there anything you're looking forward to seeing in season 2? I already know you've seen season 2, but I haven't. But is there anything you say that you would, when you finish watching season 1 yourself, that you were anticipating to see for season 2?
Well, when I was watching it in the past, and I had to wait for season 2 to start, the first thing that came to my mind was I wanted to know more about Ruby and Sapphire. Because at the moment I found out that Garnet was a fusion, because I did not even see those hints, because if you look back at the first episodes, you can notice hints towards the fact that she is a fusion, but you don't get told that until the end of the first season.
Yes.
That's what got my attention. That and the fact about Lapis Lazuli going into the ocean. Those were the most outstanding things for me.
Yeah. Well, for me currently, the things that stand out for me is, those two things. I do feel that Ruby and Sapphire are probably going to be a main focus for season 2, but I will say we've watched, I think, 4 or 5 episodes of season 2 before because we didn't really plan on doing this until just now. And so far there hasn't really been that much of them. There's been some talk about them. I think later into season 2 they're going to be like a big focus, like in terms of like their backstory, and even season 3 I think too. But that's a big focus. I want to see more of Connie. I want to see what happened to Peridot. We don't know yet what's going to happen to her. We also, I want to see, I hope the show develops more of Amethyst, because they did kind of lack that for her because of how much they developed Pearl and Garnet. And then I want to see a little bit of more of Pearl's obsession with Rose and her kind of lesbian vibe, but and Steven, I do like him a lot still. I hear a lot of people, they say that like Steven is probably one of their least favorite characters in the show. I hear that like
Oh, go on.
Well, I hear even one of my friends who watches Steven Universe too, he told me that he really doesn't like Steven, that he likes him, but he doesn't like the fact that he's so pacifist. But that's just him. But
yeah, well, I agree in a way, because sometimes the way he faces the new enemies, he tries to befriend them, but sometimes it looks like he lacks this common sense. He just goes and tries to befriend someone who just attacked him 5 minutes ago,
Yeah, and I hope Steven, maybe that just shows his good-hearted nature, but I think like I hope that like the show, hopefully like the show addresses that and it shows some development of him, because there is already quite a bit of development of the characters so far that is noticeable. But however, I do feel like I do hope I don't like grow to dislike Steven. I feel like the show's going to be a lot more complex in the next season than season 1. I'm looking forward to season 2 and what it has in store, as well as 3, 4, and 5. If they ever finish 5 by then, it'll probably be like a year by then, or like we'll be like 50 years old by the time season 5's over. Oh, where's season 6? But yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and but I do hope they look more into that. I'd like to see more of Greg and Rose. They're probably going to reveal a lot more of Rose, as well as like Greg. I think Greg has some more backstory. I think there's going to be some episodes where Greg reveals some more backstories involving Rose, which I hope to see, because that episode he did with Rose is my favorite so far. And but yeah, and I hope they kill off Lars. But no, I'm kidding.
No.
Just make a meteor hit him in the face and like he dies. But no, I'm kidding. But that's it. Any crazy son of a bitch. But anyway, any last words?
I don't know. I love Steven Universe.
Well,
I'm happy I got you into it.
Thank you. Yes. But that's pretty much it. Check out all of KhramChee's stuff, and we'll hopefully try to get to season 2 in like maybe a week or so. We can get an episode of this out, and check out all of KhramChee's stuff, her Fur Affinity, her Twitter, her YouTube, her... Do you want your Instagram plugged? I don't know.
I rarely use it, but I do have it.
and her Patreon. Give her money. She needs
Hey,
it,
give
but
me money.
so she can waste her money on stuff she doesn't need. But I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But anyway, yes. So that's it. Thanks you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. So bye.